Hi friends, welcome to EduTap. So welcome to the live session where we shall be discussing the NABARD Grade A 2017 Phase 1 Computer Knowledge section, right? So this is also an important section in Phase 1 of NABARD Grade A. So we need to make sure that we analyze these questions, and depending upon the pattern of questions that we had experienced in the last year's paper, we can actually take some insights from there and we can prepare accordingly for the computer awareness section. So we shall just start directly by first having a look at the pattern. So we know that the computer knowledge, we have 20 solid marks out of 20 questions. So it is very easy section, but at the same time we need to keep in mind that we cross the sectional cutoff as well. So NABARD Grade A 2017, the overall cutoff was 109.25. And when you have a look at computer awareness, so when you have a look at the computer awareness section, the cutoff was 4.50 for the unreserved category. So you can see that when you compare the cutoff with the other sections, like maybe the GA sections, economic and social issues sections, or the ARD sections, comparatively the cutoff is more. So the questions are actually of the easier level. That's why you can see that there is an increase in the cutoff. So that is why make sure that you solve the easy questions first so that you don't lag behind in the cutoff. Here. So now what we shall do is we shall just start having a look at all the questions one by one. So it's going to be a very simple session, a smaller one. We'll just have a look at the question and we shall also see what is the difficulty level of that particular question. What you need to do is, after having a look at the question, you can actually work on the background and you can link more concepts so that you can do the preparation holistically, right? So here you can see the first question that we're going to discuss. So the question was, what is the name of an application program that gathers user information and sends it to someone through the internet? So the answer to this particular question is Spybot. Now generally you need to know that there is a broader term called malware that is used. Okay, so this malware basically includes all the other terms, like for example virus, for example worms, right, spybot. So all these terms come under malware. So you need to know the broader term, umbrella term, and the characteristic of each of the malware that is given. For example, if we talk about virus, okay, so virus usually requires an executable file to get attached to itself. So that is very important. So these are some of the characteristics that you need to keep in mind, right? So when you're studying each of the malware, just note down the important points and make sure you know the difference that exists between the various malwares that you study, right? For example, when you're talking about spyware, okay, so what is the main thing that spyware does? So from the name itself you can find out that it is spying on someone. Okay, so it actually collects the data about a victim's computer. Okay, like what are they browsing, what are their likes, dislikes. So all can be actually inferred from the browser's history, right? So these are some of the things that spyware actually does. Similarly, there are others also, like Trojan. Now what is the difference between Trojan and virus? If you see, virus replicates itself, right, but Trojan does not. So whenever you see Trojan, you think on the outer side it's a very genuine application, but it is not. If a Trojan is present in your computer application, what happens is the others can actually access your computer and they can illegally do many other things, right? So it can basically open the gateways for hackers to take the control of a computer. Okay, so these are some of the minute points. So you need to make sure that you actually have these points in mind, make certain notes, write down important points for each of the type of malware, and make sure that you know the differences also properly. Next, we come to the second question. It says a decision in which the decision maker must provide the judgment evolution and insights into the problem definition would be categorized as which type of decision? So this is an unstructured decision. The answer is unstructured. This is kind of a difficult question. Okay, so basically when you talk about decisions, they can be either structured, okay, they can be either unstructured, or they can be semi-structured. Now you need to know the characteristics of each. Okay, so kindly make sure that you make notes of these 2 to 3 points are more than enough. They are not going to go deeper into the question. Okay, whenever you approach such questions, make sure and at the back of the mind you need to realize that these questions are going to be on the superficial level. They are not going to test your core computer understanding. That is never going to be the case, right? Next, what is the goal of CRM? So when we say CRM, it is nothing but the customer relationship management. Okay, that is CRM. So basically, this question that we are talking about is the goal of CRM. So the answer to this question is to learn the behavior and the buying habits of your customer. Sometimes this is this question can be an example of such type of questions where you will think that more than one option can be correct. Right? So in that case, what you need to do is go for the option that is the most accurate one. Okay, so basically what is CRM? It is an approach to manage a company's interaction with the current and potential customers. So what it does, basically you are analyzing a customer's history, okay, so that you can improve the business relationship. You are actually getting a knowledge about the trends. So this kind of question is of moderate difficulty. You can use the basic common sense and answer this kind of questions. Next, we have come to a question which says, on a web page, dash is a smaller version of a larger graphic. Okay, so the answer is very straight. It is called thumbnail. Here also we have inserted a picture. So you can see this is a thumbnail which is used. The first thing at the top, whenever you go to YouTube and you go and click on a particular video, the first slide that is inserted, okay, by which you read what that video contains is known as a thumbnail. Okay, so basically these thumbnails are reduced size versions of pictures or videos. Okay, and though they are reduced size version, their clarity is very good. Okay, now this kind of questions are very general questions. They are easy, and if you have a fair amount of knowledge about the various things that you use in your day-to-day lives, you can actually answer this question very well. Next comes, which of the following is a major threat which is related to private data of customers collected by the organization? Okay, so this is again a very general question. It is called identity theft. Okay, there is also other terms that you might find in your paper, like you might find data diddling. Okay, so here data diddling is actually false data entry. You are unauthorizedly changing data, okay, when you are giving the data as an input to a computer system. So again, now because you are learning something which was related to data privacy, you can also extrapolate and understand that these are also some of the important terms. Okay, and you can see that identity theft can be of the various types that is mentioned, like social security identity theft, financial identity theft, and etc. So these kind of questions are very easy in nature. Next comes, what is a set of rules and practices that regulates how a system, or rather an organization, protocols sensitive and critical sensitive resources? Now the answer to this question is a security policy of a company or an organization, right? So this is again a very simple question. Next, which of the following shaped boxes is used in a flowchart for making decisions? So now the answer to this question is rhombus. So what you need to do, basically whenever you write an algorithm, you can use flowchart model, right? So when you're using a flowchart model, you use various symbols, okay, be it rectangle, be it rhombus. So you need to make sure that you memorize what does each of the symbols stand for. Now suppose you get one question, it's a very simple straight 1 mark that you score. This is an easy question. So here we have given a list, like for example, what does a rectangle show? It is a process, it represents a process, right? And the diamond, it represents decision. So these are some of the things that you need to keep in mind. Okay, now the software used to drive microprocessor based system is called what? So it is called assembly language programs. Okay, so you need to know about the low level languages and high level languages. What is the difference between the two? Why is each one preferred? What is the disadvantage and what are the examples of each? So these are some of the smaller points that you need to make note of, so that if a very basic question comes from it, you can easily answer it in the paper. Next, with respect to a network interface card, the term 10 by 100 refers to which of the following? So basically this 10 by 100 here, it refers to the minimum and maximum transfer speed. Okay, and here it is megabits per second. Now this is a kind of a difficult question. In first instance, it is not many of us would not be able to answer it. So what happens is, when you encounter such kind of questions, instead of taking risk, you can rather leave such questions, because there's negative marking also involved. So whenever you approach questions, try to grab those questions that are very simple in nature, because our primary aim first is to clear the cutoff, and then we need to maximize our scores. Next, if you see, which of the following executes the program step by step and points out errors line by line? So the answer to this question is interpreter. Okay, so here we have given the definitions for all, like compiler, okay, what is an assembler, what is debugger, and what is interpreter. Now these are four important terms which people usually get confused with, and whenever you find a question that addresses one of the characteristics of these terms, you will always find all these four terms together, more or less. So you need to know the distinction between all the four terms that we have mentioned here. Now this is a kind of a moderate question. Okay, so a fair knowledge of these terms would be very easy for you to answer these questions in the examination. Now the next one, if you see, which of the following persons is the inventor of Bitcoin, which is a digital currency system? Now obviously the answer is Satoshi Nakamoto, and this question or this news was rather very frequent in the newspapers, in the website. So this is something which is happening daily. Bitcoins are something, it's a hot topic. So obviously yes, and because they are using algorithms to generate Bitcoins, so obviously it is something which can also be linked to the computer knowledge, right? So that is why you find such kind of questions in the computer knowledge section as well. Next, which of the following devices is widely used in modern digital cameras to store photographs? Okay, answer very simple. The answer is memory card. Now the next question is unit time in which data can be read from or returned to a memory storage device is referred to as what? So this is a term, so kindly have a knowledge about this term. It is called throughput, okay, and it refers to the number of processes that is actually completed per unit time. So now this kind of question, if you see, if you know the term, you would very well in the first instant tick the answer. But suppose if you have if you're skeptical about such questions, as I told you earlier, do not attempt it. Next, which of the following is not directly related to integrated chips which are used in computer? The answer to this question is magnetic tape storage. Now this is a moderate level, difficulty level question. Next, which of the following is the process of analyzing data from different perspectives and summarizing it into useful information? So the answer to this question is data mining. Now if you see in this computer knowledge also, they are going to give you certain questions which are related to the day-to-day happenings. Like nowadays we have this big data happening, there is this artificial intelligence, there is this data mining. So any of these terms, if they have a connection with computer or if they have connection with a specific software, so make sure you are aware of such happenings, because that happenings would be incorporated in the form of questions in your paper. Next, which of the following is not true regarding BCC option in emails? So now this is the easiest question you can expect in your paper, because this is something which we use in our day-to-day lives. So BCC is actually mandatory while sending mails. This statement is wrong. So BCC is not mandatory. Only if you want to, you can use it and send across the mails, right? So this is easy question. Next, which of the following is the official language for developing Android applications? Now the answer to this question is Java language. Now we know that each one of us mostly use smartphones, right? And we have Android applications in it. So we actually, these kind of questions test our understanding about the very simple things that we use in our lives. So you don't need to actually study computer to answer such questions out here. This is very evident from such kind of questions that have appeared in the paper. So kindly just make sure that whatever is the basic things that you use in your day-to-day lives, you know what it stands for, you know the basic application that is used to create such things. Okay. Next, which of the following is not a Microsoft software? And the answer to this question is Firefox. So now Firefox is from Mozilla. So what you need to do, you need to make a list of the various Microsoft softwares that are in use or that have also become obsolete. So if such kind of questions are seen in the paper, this is actually the easiest ones you can go for. Next, dash is used to divide the tracks into basic elements such as tracks, sectors and cylinders. Now the answer to this question is low level formatting. This is a kind of a moderate difficulty level question. Many of us, if we are not generally aware of computer as a language or something, we would not be able to attempt it. So what you can do is, as I told you, try and skip it, only keep it as a last resort of yours. Next, which of the following is a term which is used for describing the encrypted data? Okay, now the answer to this question is ciphertext. So basically, ciphertext, when you use this term, it refers to the encrypted text. Okay, and the opposite, okay, plain text is what you have before encryption. So now you can see that they have asked the questions from very basic terms that you use. Okay, so you just need to know what is the meaning of this term. You don't need to go into the details. So that is how questions in the computer section are going to be. So basically what we have done here is all the 20 questions, we have divided it into 3 baskets, or 3 categories rather. It is like easy, moderate and difficult. Okay, so when you analyze these questions, you can easily see for yourself that out of these 20 questions, 11 questions were very easy, very direct questions, and if you have a fair amount of knowledge about the devices that you use in your day-to-day lives even, you can easily answer those questions. And if you see the moderate level difficulty, there were 7 questions to it, and the questions which can be categorized as being difficult, where actually there is less possibility that you might have a clue of it, those were just 2 questions. So again, from this analysis, there's one point that you can infer, that since the number of easy questions are more, obviously the cutoff was 4.5. That is why. If here, on the contrary, the number of difficult questions were high, automatically it would have been reflected in the cutoff list. Okay, so the cutoff becomes low. So always relate that whenever you are seeing a certain section and you think that that particular section has more difficult questions, so you don't need to panic at that point of time. You just need to focus on your accuracy, because if the paper is tough for you, it is going to be tough for everyone. So automatically the cutoff is going to be less. So your aim should be to just go for accurate questions, for those questions that you are for sure going to mark it correct, right? Okay, so we have seen the various 20 questions that were found in the NABARD Grade A 2017 computer knowledge section of phase 1. Now we have also seen that there were more number of easy questions that were there. Now at the end, what is the key takeaway from such analysis? The first thing, as I always believe, that there are 4 sections: the general awareness, the computer knowledge, the ESI and ARD. These 4 sections are very scoring sections, and they are very less time consuming, because you do not have to do any solving in that, and if you know the answer, for sure it is going to be correct. Okay, you cannot judge. Like for reasoning, if you take, there can be some questions where you can be dicey about it, you can be skeptical, right? But these questions are very straight, direct questions. So always try and maximize your scores in these 4 sections. And coming to the computer knowledge, you have already seen that the level of the questions are very easy. So try and solve these questions from your basic understanding. When you're attempting the paper, make sure that you pick on those questions that are easy first, finish them off, then you see the left out questions. If you see that there is a high probability that you might mark a wrong answer and you do not feel right about it, kindly do not mark that answer. Next, so we have seen the questions, we have seen the various categories, we have also put the questions into various categories and found that the more number of questions were from actually easy level, right? So the next thing, we have also seen the insights, and now the last thing, what is actually EduTap providing you for this particular section. So we have a very comprehensive notes on computer awareness. Now what you need to do is you need to revise these notes as many times as possible and try to note down the small points, like as I told you when we were discussing the first question, that when you find a question about Spybot, don't restrict yourself to Spybot. Just extrapolate it and have a look at all the other malwares, like have a look at virus, have a look at Trojan, what are the differences between the two. So these are some of the things, these are some of the self work also that you need to perform, right? And our note are very comprehensive, you can find these things in that. Next, we also provide nearly 500 MCQs on computer awareness. So kindly solve these MCQs as many times as you can so that you are able to actually retain many things. So many of the questions can be solved after solving the MCQs which we have provided on computer awareness. Then we have 10 full-length mock tests, and obviously computer knowledge is going to form a part of those full-length mock tests. So each test would contain 20 questions. So again, straight you can get 200 questions again as part of the full-length mock test. So again, I am repeating myself. Once you are done with these mock tests and these MCQs, kindly revise them ample number of times. So friends, with this we are here at the end of the live session. So so far we have analyzed through live sessions, we have analyzed our ESI section, our ARD section, our general awareness section, and today we have done the analysis for the computer knowledge section as well. If you have any queries, you can kindly drop in the comment section. Our team would be more than happy to help you out. And right now for NABARD, we are offering the full comprehensive course for ₹5,000. So there is a 50% discount that is running. So anyone can just go to our site and buy the course directly by giving ₹5,000 there. And then there are two other courses that we offer. The other one is the NABARD Punch course for current affairs, where we have consolidated all the current affairs that is required for NABARD examination in one place, and it is going to be a very thorough and comprehensive course. And recently we have come up with the test series for phase 1 and phase 2, where we offer more than 5,000 to 6,000 MCQs, so you can practice these MCQs before you actually go down to give your paper. Thank you, friends.